All right, we're going to get started, folks. It's right at 8 o'clock now. So good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Rob Strzeski. I am a middle school technology teacher for 12 years at Amherst Middle School, which is right outside of Buffalo, New York. And as of this past September, I'm now an adjunct professor in an online program at Canisius College and their Educational Technologies program. So this tool I'm showing you today, Socrative, really can be used in both places, in the K-12 world and in the higher ed world. I've started out with a little bell ringer activity. I checked a moment ago. We have about 70 of you in the room, in the virtual room. But in the live room here, we have 140 seats, and I've been told they're all sold out. So we're going to try to get everybody in. If you have a mobile device and you want to participate, the 3 steps are there. You can join in at any time. It doesn't have to be right at the beginning. We're going to try to get everybody's the results in. Now, as I mentioned a few moments ago, Socrative is meant to be for 50 users or less. But we have close to 150 likely today, so we're going to try it. We may have some glitches. You can always hit the refresh button. It could be the fault of the conference Wi-Fi. It could be the fault of Socrative. Likely it's more of a Wi-Fi in this kind of room when there's this many users on. If you have more than one device, I'm going to ask if you could just keep it to just one, just so that we can maximize our bandwidth to get everybody into it. All right, so I like to do this opening kind of like, I call it like a movie trailer style. I'm going to give you a little taste up front of all the different types of questions, and then we'll spend the hour going through the way to set up all the types of questions. So the opener quiz now is going to show you all the different types of things you can do with Socrative. So what we're looking at here on the left and right. On the left side is the teacher interface. I've logged in with my free teacher account. I'm looking at the top. I could see 92 of you in the room right now are in the virtual room and answering that first question. And on the right-hand side is what you are seeing as a student. So I'm going to do the split screen view today so you can see what it looks like. Left is teacher, right is student. Now I'm doing that from my laptop. I'm using the Chrome browser. And a little trick here, if you want to do this split screen mode, you have to use really 2 different browsers, or the Chrome calls it the incognito mode on the right side, because if you're logged into the browser as a teacher, you can only be logged in as a teacher. You really can't be a teacher and a student. So my little trick to that is to open up another window in what Chrome calls the incognito view, which would be that choice right there. So the browser's allowed me to be 2 different people at once. So I'm running it off the laptop. This could be done from my iPhone. It could be done from a tablet, so that could be portable and walking around. I just want you to know that you're not limited to having to do it from a desktop or a laptop. Any mobile device can be acting as the student or as the teacher. All right, so let's go off now to our second question. And as I scroll down here, you'll see all of your names are listed in the order of when you joined. And at the very bottom, it will say, because it's going to keep refreshing here, send next question to students. So now I just sent off question number 2. And this one's a multiple choice. And I'm asking you about your experience here with ISTE. So go ahead and choose which of the multiple choice describes you. And as we do that, you'll see the real-time results are coming in. And because I have to have my monitor set a certain way for the projector, I'm kind of everything's squished. Normally you have more space to see these charts, but I may have to scroll up and down a little bit just to see that. And if there was a problem right now, let's say in a classroom, I didn't want the students to see those results, not a big deal. You have this shortcut button right here that says hide live results. So you could be answering now without influencing each other if you're a room of, I teach middle school, and you don't want to see what everybody else is seeing. So you could hide those live results if needed, or in this case, I'll leave it open so we can see how everything is going. And out of the 106 people in the room, 94 of you have answered, and now there's 107. So you can see that fraction at the top. I always keep my eye up there to see if the majority of people in the room have answered the question. And if you want everybody to answer, and in my case, I wait for all 20-some kids to answer, I won't move on to the next question until I've noticed that. I'm running what's known as a teacher-paced mode, but this could also be done in a student-paced mode, where I just hit go, and you all go independently to work, and I watch to see when everybody's finished. But this, because I want to show you each question individually, I'm doing this in the teacher-paced mode. So it looks like most of you have answered, and majority of people, this is their first time at ISTE. So welcome. We're going to move on now to our next question. Send next question to students. And question number 3 will be coming your way momentarily. And there we go. So which general category do you fall in? And of course, we had to put an other in there to capture everybody. And this multiple choice question does not have a correct answer. This is known as one of the more opinion questions, because when you put a question in like this, you can choose which one or multiple choices which would be correct. In this case, when I built this question, I didn't say any one of them is correct, so it's not going to highlight a certain choice. All right, looks like majority are in, and the majority of the people in the room are teachers, followed by the other category, and some administrators and technical staff as well. Moving on to our next question. This one I wanted to show you. You can put in images now. This is a relatively new feature, only within the past month or so, that Socrative added. And so I'm showing you a famous landmark. You can choose which one you think that is. Try to get a little humor in there as well. And the image feature is pretty straightforward to use. As long as it's an image that's, I believe, less than a megabyte, you can upload it while you're building your question, and it will format it nicely. And the majority have answered and have it correct. Very good. That is the Alamo. And off to our next question. This one is, let's see which kind I did here. Aha, this one is a short answer, short response. And I made it so that there is a correct answer. And I made it so you could, I want to see what people are typing, you could do the 2-letter abbreviation for this state, as well as the full 5 letters of the name of the state, and both would be correct. Again, a new feature within only the past month that Socrative added was, on these short answers, you can specify if it's TEXIS or TX. Either one of those would be correct answers. So now you really can go for a more open-ended question, but put in a very key word there that would mark it automatically correct. And the benefit here, of course, is it grades itself. You're not having to go through and manually grade that. And uppercase and lowercase does not matter either. So the case doesn't matter. So if you answered Texas or TX, you would be getting the question marked correct in the auto-graded feature. And majority have answered, so I shall move on now to our next one. And this one, I believe I had a picture in this. Yep. Here is our TrueFalse, or I don't know. And when you search Al Gore Internet on a Google image search, you get a ton of stuff that comes up. So I tried to keep it clean, and I picked one that was more appropriate. But this is another example of how you can put images into your multiple choice, or TrueFalse, and have those automatically graded as well. And our results look like we have the majority have it correct, and it's false. Anybody know who is gets credit for creating the internet? Not Al Gore. No. There seems to be more than one answer from what I hear, but it's nobody knows it. What's his name? I could Google it in a minute. Maybe I will. But I think it was back in the 60s or 70s or so. That's when it was. I think in the 60s, something to do with the war. So if anybody finds the answer to that, I have a special prize for you. I'll know it when I hear it, if somebody has it. So we're going to move on now. As I mentioned, I took notes for you already. I have this. This is my outline, which I'm going to use today. It's a Google Doc. I'm a big fan of Google Docs. I've gone on a Microsoft Office diet for the past 3 years. I do not use Microsoft Office at all, unless my colleagues make me because they're refusing to switch to Google Docs. But I'm a big fan of this because of the features of the collaboration features. I have this marked right now as a publicly viewable document. And if anybody wants to add to it, you can add comments. Just highlight some of the text, right-click if you have a mouse, and you'll be able to add comments to it, such as, I didn't understand this part, or great example of Al Gore and the internet, or something like that. I like those features that you have here with Google Docs that you just don't have with Microsoft Word. So as a side note, you'll see all of my documents are stored in this format. So we did our disclaimer, we did our intro quiz, and I already took notes for you as my little disclaimer there. So robztraining.com is my teacher blog, and you will see the very first one, Socrative, right here, and my presentation outline link I put is right there. So that way you can follow along and not have to worry about writing down links, because you can grab them all from the Google Doc I have there for you. Moving on now to a demonstration video. I have a lot of colleagues, a lot of fellow teachers ask me, what is this Socrative tool? I heard you're using that in place of the number 2 bubble sheets. How could I use it? So I'm always looking for like an easy, quick way to show them how I'm using it. So I made a video blog about using Socrative in my classroom for taking final exams. So I'll play that for you now. We'll see if it goes okay. Hi, it's Rob Z from robztraining.com, and on today's video blog, I want to feature Socrative. Socrative is a website. It's a Socrative is a website. It's a tool that you can use, and it's free for administering tests or practice tests, or even kind of asking kids questions in class. It's what they call a student response system. I love it because it works on any web-enabled device. So we're talking the expensive iPads down to the cheap Android tablets or even an iPod Touch, smartphone. Anything that has a web browser is fair game. You can use it with Socrative. So it's cross-platform as best as it can be. It's very easy to use. Didn't have to tell the kids any lengthy instructions. Just basically go to this website or launch the free app if that's the case. And here's my room number. And that's it. I verbally said that. I didn't even have to show them that. And they were able to figure that out. They have a really cool feature also called the space race, where I can have kids working in groups, and they're kind of all trying to get the right answers to the questions, and there's a little spaceship that goes across the screen. Kind of looks gimmicky, maybe more elementary level, but I don't know, my 7th and 8th graders really enjoyed it today, so it might have some promise to it too. It's catching on. Other teachers in the school now are using it for practice exams, and maybe even like me, they're using it for the final exam in place of Scantron number 2 pencil bubble sheets, which really with those things, you're waiting days to get feedback from a teacher. Whereas opposed with using this method, with Socrative, boom, you got it after each and every question. You know if you've got the answer right or wrong. So I really like it from a practice standpoint, but I'm going to experiment with it this year and use it as my final exam in place of a number 2 Scantron sheet. So it's catching on. Hoping other teachers start using it, and you should try using it too if you're interested. Socrative.com, free site, something to check out. And if you're interested in more videos like this about things I'm doing in the classroom and other educational technology stuff, subscribe to my blog, robztraining.com. Thanks for watching. All right, a little side note there. I made that video blog with a program called Videolicious, which, a little plug for my session later, 2:30 today. I'm doing another BYOD session, which still has some seats open with it. Videolicious is an iOS app that works. Really great tool to make that kind of stuff in just a minute or two. You basically look at your phone, tell your story, and tap when you want all that footage to go along with it. So I'm going to do a BYOD session today at 2:30 in room number 6, right down the hall here. If you're interested in that, that's how we made that type of video. So back to the outline. We are going to, I have another link here for you. If you wanted to see, I'm not going to, of course, show it now, but I presented this Socrative workshop in a little bit more of a length, about an hour and a half long. Went through the steps as well at Canisius College last summer. So that link is available here for you to watch from my website, where I go through all the types of things I'm going to go through today as well. And today's session, by the way, is being recorded. There's a camera in the back, so I believe ISTE is going to feature this somehow, make it available after the fact as well. Because I do go pretty fast when I go through all the pieces of the presentation today. So you can refer back to the video if need be to see something a little bit more in depth again. Now the overview of features on the Socrative website. They have a nice breakdown here on the left-hand side of all the main features. The one I mostly want to highlight right now, because you could click through these if you'd like while you're out there, is the devices. Again, a mix of anything. Smartphones, tablets, computers, Mac, PC, doesn't matter. New computer, old computer, everything is fair game. Even those older iPod Touch, maybe 3rd generation and older that do not have the camera on them, a lot of people figure, oh, those things aren't good for anything because there's no camera. Well, if you can get those older devices just for the purpose of Socrative, that's a really awesome thing, because all it has to have is just a web browser. It doesn't even have to have the ability to put an app on it. Again, all browsers, cross-platform, it works. I've tried pretty much every browser out there and have never run into a problem with Socrative. So their cross-platform compatibility is a really great thing. Signing up. If you're a teacher and you're going to sign up for an account like I'm using today to show you things, you sign up right from Socrative.com. At the upper right-hand corner is the blue sign-up link. And it's a very straightforward procedure. You give them your preferred email password, and then you only have to identify what school you're in, I believe what subject you teach, and in a matter of probably 20 seconds, you're good to go. Only teachers have to sign up because they're going to be running quizzes. Students do not have to sign up. Just like all of you out in the audience right now, to participate today, you do not have to sign up for anything, so no emails needed that way. That's really great in a large venue like this, where you can just have people jump right into it without the need to log in or create any sort of account. Next up I have the login options. 3 of them there. If all users can just go simply to Socrative.com, and the links are at the top. But to streamline things a little bit more, teachers have a shortcut, which is t.socrative.com. And when you do that, it looks like this. I'm going to actually end our quiz from before. And I'll show this later too, but when you end a quiz, you have options. You can email the report to yourself so that later on you can look at all the results. You can download the report instantly as an Excel spreadsheet, or in this case, I'm really not going to, well, I'll look at it later. I'll say email to me, and then I'll check and see how everybody responded later. And then it brings us back to the beginning again. All right, so this is what the main interface looks like when you're logged in as a teacher. And you have quick access to a bunch of shortcuts at the top for single questions and then more for multiple. So my workflow today is going to be basically starting us at multiple choice and working our way down through all 6 types of events that you can do in Socrative. Let me jump back to my outline and see where we're at. So again, teacher shortcut is t.socrative.com. Students is M is in mobile, socrative.com. So the 2 presentation modes that I mentioned a moment ago here is on the fly or in full quiz mode. The on the fly advantages are there's minimal prep needed. You can just basically launch it and say, well, I'm going to do a multiple choice, or I'm going to do a short answer. And there's really no prep involved, which I do like because I spur the moment that comes up during the class. It might be middle of the class period, and I say, this might be a good time to take a poll and rank all the things together. So you can launch that with very right on the fly. But however, there are disadvantages, and that would be they're only single questions, so it's not a series of questions in a row. It is basically anonymous. It doesn't ask for names, and there are no results that are recorded. So we're going to start off with our multiple choice example, the Battle of the Alamo slide. So I am going to go back to side-by-side mode, and I'm going to launch a multiple choice. And that's all I have to do is just hit multiple choice. Now, it's going to pull up for you guys answer choices. Now, and you might be saying, well, what are the choices? This is where I would go to my whiteboard or my chalkboard and write down the things on the board. Now, for that, I have made one. So let's imagine that this is my chalkboard in my room, or whiteboard. And this is the question that I want you to answer now. So those are the years. What year did the famous Battle of the Alamo occur? So go ahead now on your devices and respond to it. And if I pull it back to side-by-side mode, we'll see the results as they're coming in. I have to flip screens, though, so I have to go to here. And here's our breakdown right now as people are voting. It's kind of, I guess I have to have 3 screens going in order to see both. I'll go back to that there. There's the graphic. And then here is Socrative, the teacher side. And it looks like the majority are voting on B, and B is the choice that says 1836, and that is correct. Very good. I tried to put a tricky one of 1863, flipping the 2 numbers around there. And, of course, nobody answered 2012, I hope. I usually get okay, nobody did. Good. All right, so that is our example of a multiple choice, just on the fly. I just hit the button, launch multiple choice, and we're off and running with 5 answer choices. It will show all 5. There's no way to get less or more. So that's a default, is just 5 choices there. So now let's end that activity. And now my next one I wanted to do is true-false example. All right, so I'm going to launch a true-false. And this one I'm just going to verbally say. The state capital of Texas is San Antonio. True or false? Question. The state capital of Texas is San Antonio. True or false? And it looks like we have the majority responding there with false. A couple of true. And again, this might be influencing you that haven't answered yet. Okay, so I would hide. This one actually I can't hide. I would have to just minimize my browser because this one is meant to be seen, unlike the next ones you'll see where you can hide that. So very good. Everybody's got it. What is the capital of Texas? Austin. Very good. So there's our on-the-fly true-false example of that one. Now, I like the next one, the short answer example, because there's really 2 parts to it. We're going to add a voting option to it. So for the next one, let's end the activity. And we'll go hit short answer. Now this is new. There's a couple of extra features they just added about a month ago. I'm going to put the question in. Your favorite app or website? And I'm going to say, since it's a large room, I only want one response from each person. I could put unlimited, but might get to hundreds of responses. And I do want to have you put your name in. So you're going to be prompted with a little box to put your name in with it. So I'll say start activity. And now you're going to see a text box that you can type in. And it's going to ask, it should ask you for your name. I think I had put my name in already, that's why. So you'll put in your name, and then you'll be able to put in your favorite app or website. Well, we could say related to education. Since we're a room of educators, we'll say anything that has to do with education. And as you can see, the results are coming up now, and it's nice because the person's name is there. Now this, of course, is dependent that they truly put their name in. It's easier with a room of 20-some kids to figure out who's being honest or not with their names. Now, in case somebody did put in something inappropriate, which you might be thinking now in your mind, look at all the red X's there. You as a teacher can say as a moderator, oops, that one shouldn't be there, boom, and you hit the X and it's gone. So you could, now I'm not saying anybody do that, but you do have that ability if something shouldn't be up there all of a sudden, you can take that off of there. So how many do we have? We have 81 results. Now this is going to be a big list, very big list, but this is the second part that I like. Now that we've brainstormed something, it could be a headline for today's lesson. It could be what question should be on Friday's quiz. It could be pretty much anything that you're brainstorming as a group. Now we're going to rank them. Sometimes I do favorite topping on pizza. We'll say, it's going to be tough because it's going to jump up. Vote on responses. So now I've just taken the list that we've created, and you're going to get a long scrollable list of all choices that you have. So you only get one choice, so you might want to scroll through the list, find the one that you like, and then tap on that one, and then you'll see it'll start ranking it for us. And that's a live dynamic list that's changing. So right now we have a couple of ties of it. It looks like Pinterest is going towards the top. And there's probably more than one Pinterest put in that list because more than one person in the room did that. So always kind of keep that in mind, that as you scroll through the list, you might have to add up this Pinterest and that Pinterest to get a full total. But that's kind of nice because then it's a way of just brainstorming things. I've done this from the standpoint of, in today's lesson on efficiency, we do bridge trust building. What would be the best quiz question that should be on Friday's quiz? And they'll all come up with, well, we talked a lot about tension. So what is tension would be a good question on there. So then the kids can almost help generate some of the questions that would be on the quiz. Or use it as a summary of their learning of what's the most important thing we learned today, or what was the most confusing thing that happened today. And then kids can generate that list and then vote on it. So pretty neat way of using this tool, kind of as a two-part tool. And it looks like we got, towards the top of the list there, we got Edmodo, Google, YouTube, Pinterest, Evernote. Very good tools. So those are our on-the-fly options. What I'm going to do now is take us to a more pre-prepped stage. I'll say, sure, go ahead and email me that report. And notice it says right there it's been sent to me. Now, if I later on in the day say, wait a minute, I forgot second period to email that report to me, not a big deal. You still have access to all of those results down here under the Manage Quizzes area. And we'll get to that a little bit later when I show you more of the advanced things. And the number is red, by the way, because it's over 50. We have 99 people live in the room right now, but normally that color is green if you have less than 50 users in there. Okay, so back to the outline here. We just did all the on-the-fly mode. We're going to go now into the quiz mode. And let's see if I can scroll over here a little bit. In the quiz mode now, I've prepared some things in advance. So some advantages now we will have is there can be multiple questions in a row. I can capture your names within each one of them. And the results will be recorded and emailed to me or downloaded as a spreadsheet. The disadvantage, though, is just the fact that it has to be prepared in advance. So you might have to do this during a prep period or the night before or whatnot, just to make sure you have all the pieces that you'd like in there. So the first one we're going to do is a teacher-paced example, my digital citizenship quiz. And notice I have a little number there. Does anybody know what that is? That's a sharing link, right? So if some of you in the room said, you know what, I like what he made for that digital citizenship quiz. I want a copy of that, and maybe then I'll just tweak it a little bit. That's a public share code. So you could use that code. It'll give you my quiz, and then you can go in and edit that quiz. So that's a great way for colleagues in the same building, same content area to share quizzes, is just give that basically like a serial number to each other, and then you can use that as a basis to start your quiz, so you're not starting from scratch. So my digital citizenship quiz, I'm going to launch now. And now we're moving down to the next batch here. These are the quiz-based activities. So we're going to hit Start a Quiz. And I have to drop down my list and pick the one. It's going to be that one. And I'm going to make this one a teacher-paced quiz. Now, some of the other options you have here, I'm not going to use them today, but you can randomize the answer choices so that if people are looking at each other's screens, you're not always on the same question next to the person you're sitting next to. Disable right or wrong feedback would be, should it show you if you got it right, or should it not reveal if you got each question right? I like it to give the user notice that, oh, I got that one right, or I got that one wrong, right after every single question. So I tend to use that feature a lot. And then if you want to hide the question explanations, those are the optional bits of information you can put in. For example, the one about tension is a pulling force. So I might say tension is like the rope example in class where we pulled it, and that's tension. So those are optional things you can put in with each question. So let's go to a teacher-paced quiz. And this one has 5 questions. So you should be any moment now seeing question number 1 again, which is putting in your name. So go ahead and do that. I'll participate too this time. And while that's going, I'll give you a little side story. I used to be a big fan of Poll Everywhere. I like that because of the whole concept of texting. A lot of kids had phones, and at middle school level too. They didn't have smartphones, but they had basic phones, and they could do the texting option. But once I found Socrative, there just seems to be more features and more things you can do with it. The catch is, though, you got to have either a data plan or have Wi-Fi. And my school at the moment does not provide Wi-Fi to students yet. They give it to teachers. So that's a little bit of a tricky thing when it comes to Socrative. But as you saw from the video I showed before, I'm in a lab where I have 25 desktop computers. So for me, that's okay because I can use those desktops. But for other teachers that don't have that luxury, using the mobile devices is great as long as there is either Wi-Fi or the students have their own data plan. So it looks like most everybody is in. We'll jump now to the next question, which will be at the bottom. And question 2, what information should you never share online? And you should be getting feedback if you got it right or wrong. It's going to reveal that to you. And that's why I like this in terms of just even a practice for the real quiz that you're going to take. It's a practice. I let them take it over and over and over again. It gives them that constant reinforcement of if they're getting the answers right or wrong. So the red and the green color coding thing I think is very nice too that they built into it. And of course, as you're seeing, the majority have chosen the correct answer, which is going to be never sharing your address. So when you pick that, you get your green. And then that little bubble that shows up underneath, that's the optional area that I put in. I gave that explanation there for that question. All right, next question. And again, this is teacher paced. So I'm running the show here. I'm setting the pace so we can have discussions around each question. Soon we'll be doing a student paced where I'll be quiet and you guys will go through it independently. So here's question 3. And we try to add humor in with our multiple choice, of course, here. And very good. Majority are getting that one correct. On to our next question. Now, even if you didn't answer, it's still just going to move you on. So it's a way to keep everybody basically on, literally and figuratively, on the same page while you're going through the progression. And again, if I wanted to hide those results so that I'm not influencing your choice, I would hit that button and we wouldn't see the results as they're coming in. But looking up here, I can tell, looks like about 56 people, there you go, 80 people have answered. So now that most people have answered, I'll show you the live results and you'll be able to see the graphs. And there we go for that one. And now our last question here. The speed seems to be pretty good today, especially with this many users on. It looks like we're doing all right, at least from what I'm seeing up here. And somebody answered with the whiteout one. All right, a majority have that one correct, letter A. Very good. So that is the teacher-paced quiz. What I'm going to do now when I hit end activity is it's going to prompt me, do I want to have the results? And I'll say, yes, I do. I'll look at them later. I'll hit email report, and it'll send the email to me. And we'll look at that in a few moments, too, so you can see what those results are going to look like. All right, on to our next activity, which is, let's see, a student-paced example. We're going to do some math. Any math teachers in the audience? Okay. Very good. So we're going to go to that one now, and that is a start the quiz. And this time we're going to pick the math quiz that I set up. We're going to make it student-paced. And it should launch to you any moment now. And this is when the teacher stays quiet. This is when everybody's doing their thing. You can kind of keep an eye on where everybody's at by seeing the progress of what current question they're on, and then the number of correct answers out of the 4 possible choices. There's 5 questions, but the first one is what's your name? So that one's not going to be marked as a correct or incorrect answer. And it looks like if I scroll down, towards the bottom of the list, I can see who has finished and their scores. And so that list is dynamically changing. It's reshuffling everybody around. Towards the bottom of the list is where you would see the people that are done. And looking where it says completed quiz, you could see about 81 people out of the 115 are finished with it. So that's your way as a teacher to know, are we ready to move on to the next class activity because, is everyone done or who's still working? And of course, you'll have in a room of 20-some kids, they'll be looking around and, who's the kid that's not done yet kind of thing, so you can move on. So that has to be dealt with however you see fit, but it looks like we're almost there. All right, so in the interest of time, I'm going to end it now, even though not everybody's done. And when I say end activity, I will again just email that report to me, and then it brings me back to the main page. Just like that. All right. What was the question? No, it doesn't tell you the length of time for each person, no. But if we go to check my email here, we'll see likely this is it, the most recent one, from 3 minutes ago. And I'm going to open it as a Google spreadsheet. You can open it as a Excel spreadsheet if you want, but I prefer kind of to go this mode here. And this was our digital citizenship one we took. Now, of course, names are on the left. Green is correct and red is incorrect. So if you want to just get a high-level view of where everybody was at, looks like most of the red is in this column E here with that question. But you can drill down to see how each person did. And I thought, here it is here. Your total score is here. Now, because this is Google Docs, I like the fact I can just do that and say sort me from Z to A, I think. Yep, so all my hundreds are at the top, and as I scroll down, I can see the scores get lower. And maybe we shouldn't show this side of it, but these will be all the names. So you can rank it from top to bottom pretty easily that way, and then you can get that data to see, it looks like a lot of people were having trouble with question E, which was the fishing one. No, what should you do before opening a strange email address? So that'll help you get that data, maybe after school during a planned period for the next day's lesson by looking at those reports. And it emails them to you, so if you're like me and you're a Gmail user, you have it. I just archive everything, and I just don't even bother deleting it. So I can always find it somewhere down the road later by going back to it. All right, so next one we're up is the exit ticket example. All right, so the exit ticket is basically a short quiz that they put in a couple of unique questions for you. So with one click, like this, exit ticket, you have the ability at the end of the period to grab some specific information about your lesson. So I'm going to go back to this mode, and you're going to see 4 questions. So go ahead and answer that. And we have to pretend that we had a lesson today on something. So I need to give you this slide. One of the questions says, answer the question on the board. This is going to be the question on the board. So go ahead and do those 4 questions. This is our exit ticket. Not our real exit ticket, though, because there's more, and I have prizes too. So. I'll give you another minute to do that.
Rob, you don't have to display your teacher view to the students either. You don't have to project.
That's correct. I could turn the projector off and just have it on my teacher station so that I'm just monitoring that screen while everybody's doing their thing. Yep. I've used this exit ticket a lot. I just have to remember, put a question up on the whiteboard, because sometimes I launch and kids say, what's the question? Oh, that's right, I forgot to put it up there. So that's why I have this up here. So some overarching question to the lesson of the day. Just write that one up there, leave it on the board all day, and then you can use your exit ticket feature of Socrative. Let's see, we have about 87 people in. Okay, so we're pretty much good on that. I'll go ahead and end that activity. And, of course, email that report so I can check it out later during a planned period or whatnot. And that's our exit ticket. Now, the last one here that we haven't seen yet is called the space race. Has anyone ever done the space race? Okay, a couple of people have. So this is a way of taking one of our multiple question quizzes and turning it into a game where we have a little bit of collaboration going on. You can have up to 10 teams. I'm going to go to that now. Space race. And there's 100 of you in the room right now. So I'm going to, which one am I using here? I got to see. A periodic table. Any science teachers in the room? Okay, so this one is about the periodic table. And we're going to do that one. So number of teams. I can choose up to 10. What that means is you're working collaboratively together. So if I have a real smart team and all those students know the answers, their little spaceship is going to go across the screen faster than the other teams. Now, it could be set up where you know who your teammates are, or you have no idea who your teammates are. And we're going to do the no idea one today because I think it's a little bit more fun. I'm going to go the maximum number. Let's say there are 10 teams total. And I'm going to make it so that I auto-assign team colors. Now, the reason for this is you as a teacher, you might decide that you want to pick who's going to be on the team. So you might say, okay, you're the green team, and green team. Or you might just say, I don't care. Whoever it chooses to randomize is perfectly fine. So since I don't know you guys in the audience, I'm just going to do that. I'll say auto-assign and let Socrative pick which of the 10 team colors that you're on. So you really won't know in the room who else you're working with, but you're all working collaboratively because every right answer boosts your little space shuttle or your rocket ship a little bit further. So we'll do that. And now here are the teams, 10 of them. And you'll start getting your questions. So it looks like my guy here is on the yellow team. So go ahead and lead yourself through this self-paced quiz on the periodic table of elements. And the pink team is in the lead. And there go those spaceships. So as you're getting those right answers, you're contributing to your team, and you're boosting that rocket ship forward. Now, it doesn't tell you which one got there first, so you kind of have to keep an eye on it. It looks like it was a tie. The gray and cyan teams was a tie for the first, followed by like 4 other teams in second place there. Now, what's interesting is not everybody is done with it, so a lot of people are still answering those questions. Looks like about half of you are all the way done with it. So if you usually the question comes up, what if you get it wrong? Does it go backwards? And no, it doesn't. So it doesn't penalize you. Only if you get a right answer does your spaceship move. If you get it wrong, nothing happens. It just stays in place. So this is a little bit of a gamification way of taking a quiz. I've had students that really find this very exciting because now taking a quiz has a little bit of a competitive edge to it. And you're not really revealing who is getting them right or wrong, so there's no hurt feelings that way. But it is a nice way of gamifying quiz taking, even if it's quiz practice. And so that is what they call the space race. Now I'm going to end the activity, and I'm going to say, email me that report, because this is going to have a lot of very valuable data to find out what periodic table of the elements things people have been getting. So it says that it sent it to me. I'm going to check. I don't know if it went through that quick. We'll see if that's the one. Yeah, that is the one. So that was pretty quick. That was under 20 seconds there that it emailed it to me. And now we can analyze the results. And it does say which color the teams were on. So if I wanted to resort that, I bet you I could, right? If I go like that. Yep, so now I can see colors of the teams and the names of the people. And of course, as I scroll through, you can see the right and wrong answers. This first one here, what was that first one? People had trouble with that. Tungsten, maybe, was the one? And then did you see I gave those hints in there too? Like tungsten is like in a light bulb, which is measured in watts. So it's W. Like I tried to give, I think that was right? I tried to give little hints like that the science teachers might use and build those into the questions. And so that is how you analyze the results from your space race. All right, so we did some analyzing of results. You saw how we did that. Now how to create a quiz. Pretty straightforward. This you could do really 2 different ways. So let's go back to here. I'm going to maximize that. So to create or edit any quizzes, you go to this tab, which is Manage Quizzes. And it just gives me a reminder that you can share it by using those Socrative codes. So let's create a quiz. I'm going to let it be shareable. And you have 2 options, either multiple choice or short answer. So for multiple choice, you could say the colors in the U.S. flag are which? Now I'm going to do this a little differently. We're going to say there are 3 right answers here. So any of these that you choose would be correct. So it doesn't have to be just one. And then we'll say pink and purple. So that's how you would do that. So you could have multiple ones. If you wanted to give the explanation, that's the place you would do it. And if you wanted to add an image, you would choose that and then choose a file from your computer. So this one you have to do really from a desktop or a laptop. I don't think you could choose if you're doing this from a mobile device, but I haven't tested that yet. If you can, maybe it would come right from the camera roll, but I haven't tried that yet. So that's how you make a multiple choice question. When you have a bunch of them in there, notice you have your up and down to rearrange the order of them. And then if you say, never mind, I don't want that, you hit the X and it's gone. The short answer is a little different here. Let's say the state capital of New York. And you could put in Albany. I don't think case matters, but I would put in both just in case. I'd have to test out and see if it matters or not. So that way, if the person types, it's open-ended. So if they spell it wrong, they get it wrong. But if they, this I think is better than a multiple choice because there's a chance you could guess and get it right. And this way you really can't guess. There's so many options you could type in there. So that is a way of having it be auto-graded by doing it like that. Now if you don't have answers put in, and just leave it empty like that, you will end up manually grading them. Or not manually grading them, but manually looking at them. You won't have to go in and mark it right or wrong, but you'll just see it in the report that's emailed to you. You'll be able to see the responses of how everyone answered. And that's where I would put in opinion-based questions. Like, what did you not understand today in class? They could write in a sentence or a paragraph, and you would just look at it that way. So
If you don't put in an answer, it's not scored in the report?
That's correct. It's just marked as, that's right. It's just marked as an ungraded. And so those are the two types, multiple choice and short answer. Now there's another way of, let me go back here, to create one, and that will be to import a quiz. If I have that SOC number from somebody else, maybe a colleague gave me that, I could just simply put in that number right here, and it will then make that quiz for me. And I can just go in and edit that and change questions around if need be. The other one is to import a quiz from Excel. Now they have an Excel template that you can download, a Microsoft Excel. And notice there's two different versions depending on the version of Excel that you have. And I've used this before. It is nice when you have a whole bunch of questions you want to put in. You basically download it. You're working locally, so you put in all of your questions, and then you upload it back to them. And that's how you upload it, is by choosing File right there. So I've used that method, but it just seems for ease of use, I like doing it the first way I showed you, which was putting it directly in here on the website. But either way works to get the quizzes into there. Let's see, some advanced features to show you. Customizing your room number. It assigns you just a random number in the beginning, and some teachers are fine with that. But I wanted to use Rob Z. I wanted to use something more specific. So to do that, under My Profile, you have your options here. And here it is right here, to change room number. Now, one of the competitors to Socrative is called Infuse Learning. Has anyone ever used Infuse Learning? I see a couple people have. I've used that one too, not as much, but I don't think you can change the room number for Infuse Learning. And in fact, I think Infuse Learning creates a new room number for you every day that you do this. So if that was the case, I couldn't write it permanently on my whiteboard and just leave that up there all semester long, because it changes every day. So I do like the fact that Socrative lets you put in your own personal room number or word, just to make it one step easier for the kids to remember. So that is one of the advanced features. Sharing quizzes we mentioned already. You would share it through using these SOC codes, and you can import them and have copies of other people's quizzes. We mentioned that, importing quizzes via Excel templates, and then integration with Edmodo. Are there any Edmodo users out there? All right, a good number of people are. I'm a very heavy Edmodo user as well. They did add a Socrative app. It wasn't free. I can't remember the price. I think, was it 20 bucks? Anybody remember? I think somewhere around 20 bucks per teacher. I didn't find it very useful. The benefit was any of the quizzes you launched from within Edmodo, the score got put into the Edmodo gradebook, which I thought at first would be helpful, but for my use case, I didn't actually use it for grading purposes. I was mostly using Socrative just to practice for quizzes and tests that were coming up, so I didn't need to capture any actual grades for it. But they do have that integration in there. It's something to check out if you're an Edmodo user in the Edmodo App Store. And so in closing today, we're going to do my closing quiz. And let's launch that. This one I'm going to do Start Quiz. We're going to do it as a student-paced quiz. Closing quiz for ISTE. Student-paced. And that should be coming to you in a moment. All right, looks like about half of everybody's all set with the finished quiz. This was my way of capturing real data from my presentation today that then I can look at and change for future presentations like this. Now, I do have a couple of prizes today, courtesy of TechSmith. That's where I'll be spending most of my time in this conference, doing some presentations there about screencasting in the exhibit hall. And they gave me something I could hand out today, a $200 value, Camtasia Studio 8 and Snagit version 11 for Windows. So, in a room this big, since I didn't capture little tickets or something like that, we'll do this. Is anybody's birthday within the next upcoming week, like this week? A couple of hands. Okay, anybody's birthday today? 2. Okay, come on up. Come on up, guys. I'll give you... I didn't think of a tie. What are we going to do now? Oh, well, we can do it this way. What time is the birthday? Like from this moment in time forward? Yeah, what time zone? That's right. 3 in the afternoon? Okay, should we flip a coin? Who's got a coin? I don't even have a coin. I have a rock, paper, scissors? Okay, we could do that if you'd like, sure. We could do that. Do you want to split the package? Would you like to? All right, you guys go ahead and split them. One is for screen. Well, actually, they're both for screencasting. I use them both for that. These are the Windows versions, but if you just email me, I can get you the Mac serial number too. Okay. Now I have a parting prize, and then we'll get to questions too, because I know there might be some questions. Who had a birthday yesterday? Oh, okay. Okay, let's give you guys a parting prize. Go ahead and take a T-shirt, a TechSmith T-shirt, and place it at then. Just send me an email, and I'll get you guys the serial number then for the Mac version. All right. So now what we got today? How about tomorrow? Anybody's birthday tomorrow? How about Wednesday? How about Thursday? How about this next Friday? Birthday's on Friday. How about Saturday? There's the Saturday. All right, come on up. There's our winner of the software. Congratulations. And anybody, I'm going to do the other prize, which are T-shirts, to past birthdays. So anybody yesterday? How about 2 days ago? 3 days ago? 4 days ago? All right, gentlemen in the back, come on up. All right, any questions that you guys have before you go? I'm happy to answer, yes.